during a Black Lives Matter protest, I can't remember which one. I think it was in Ferguson. There was somebody who wrote a letter. It was one of the black activists saying that they felt desegregation was like a trick.
It was.
That what it did was you had basically parallel economies that were, the black community was flourishing. And then once they got rid of segregation and integrated, then all of a sudden it pushed all of the black community into and under the white community.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that whole school of thought, but we can talk about it. So I'd love to hear more about what you think about that.
Well, that's succinctly put right there. That's exactly what happened. We became second in somebody else's stuff instead of first in our stuff. Like one of the craziest things they'll say is, oh, this person is the first black to go to the moon, or first black to do this, or first. That award should not go to us. That award should go to white folks. Congratulations, you accepted somebody other than yourself. Right? And that's kind of like, a microscopic look at how we're treated in America, or how we're looked at by the liberal America. Oh, look, it's cool to be second place. So here's your participation trophy. Right?
It's kind of interesting, though, because the only time I've ever heard the idea about segregation being like, integration being bad in some capacity is from the left.
Right.
But you consider yourself conservative?
No, I consider myself Hotep. We have conservative values, though.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah, I consider myself Hotep, although we have conservative values. And I get along with a lot. Shout out to Sonny Johnson. Shout out to Uncle Hotep. Uncle Hotep was the one that taught me about conservatism. And Sonny Johnson refined that school of thought for me. And I think she's the best conservative I've seen, period. Black, white, or whatever. But yeah, loosely described as conservative. I know a lot of people like to describe me as that. I don't mind it sometimes, but Hotep to the core.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, man. It's weird how left and right don't really make sense anymore, I guess.
Nah, that's the great divide, to divide the people.
Yeah.
So we don't unite against the state. That's the big thing. And that's why white liberals keep us in the forefront. The thing about integration was, it was about turning black people white. They wanted us to be like them. They wanted us to amalgamate and assimilate into the white culture and become culturally white. And whoever assimilates best does best. If we look at people like, Don Lemon, clean cut dude, he assimilates real well. Sounds like a white guy, dates a white guy. He assimilates really well. Kamala Harris, she assimilates really well. She dates a white man. She's married to a white man. These people assimilate into AOC. She talks all that stuff about white supremacy, but she sleeps with a white man. These people assimilate into the culture, and it seems like if you assimilate, for example, my hair would not be allowed, right? Unless I was, hey, then it'd be okay.
That's
right?
so weird. But these are Democrats.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a heterodox, I don't know, it's weird. It sounds like a lot of what you're saying does fit with a lot of the social justice, activists.
Yeah.
But then you're coming down hard and pointing out it's actually the Democrats that are, racist, or
they have no diversity. They scream diversity, but they have none.
Yes.
When you talk about, the problems in America, right? And you say, oh, unemployment, da-da-da-da. Well, who owns all the tech companies? It's the leftists. So if you guys don't have representation of women, guess who's been making those decisions? White liberal men. If you don't have black people on your board or on your team, who made those decisions? Some white male liberal. Y'all run the world.
They say that they're doing better now by stopping the white cis heteronormative patriarchy or whatever. Like it's these same companies that are now trying to.
Did you hear what you just said? Say it again. Cis what? White
cis heteronormative patriarchy.
Okay.
I try to be as verbose as possible because I'm kind of making fun of them. You know what I mean?
And that's very specific.
I know.
That's
almost meaningless.
Right? It's exactly. Yeah. It's so specific that it's meaningless.
Yep.
Right? It's like heteronormative. So every other white man's exempt from the rule?
Right. The point of saying it is to it highlights the absurdity of this fringe group of people. And
yes.
Because a regular person's going to be like, I got no idea what you just said.
Right.
You didn't convey any information to me by saying that weird phrase.
Yeah, if you're not on Twitter, you wouldn't know what's going on.
Right, exactly.
And we got to talk about the Million MAGA March to go on from there. But
yeah,
when they say patriarchy, Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to destroy the patriarchy for you, but not for them. Just like Gavin Newsom, it's lockdowns for you, but I'm going to kick it with the homies.
More than once. He got caught twice.
Twice.
Do you know twice he got caught.
Do you guys know who those people were? That was the California Medical Advisory Board. I thought that was the funniest thing I'd heard.
Dude.
Like, you got to be joking.
It's kind of so obvious what they do, right? They tell you to lock down. Nancy Pelosi go gets a haircut. Mayor Lori Lightfoot go gets a haircut.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom goes out to eat, gets caught. Goes out to eat again, gets caught, and says, it was just a mistake. No, they don't care about you. And they're not scared of this. That's what's weird.
Yeah, some animals are more equal than others.
Animal Farm.
Yeah, if you people haven't read Animal Farm, make sure you go give that a good refreshing read. It should only take you about an hour or two if you got ADD like me. You know what I'm saying? I had the kids read it this summer.
But so you said Democrats have no diversity? Is that what you were saying?
There's no diversity.
So what do you mean by that?
You have to think a certain way. You have to look a certain way. And you have to behave a certain way.
And they use skin color as the shield to pretend they do have diversity.
Yeah. I mean, I go on these voice chat apps and I have discussions with them, and all the black people sound exactly the same. And then I get in the room and I speak and I get ostracized because I'm different, because I don't come from your world of pish posh, polished white liberalism, you know, the black boule. I mean, the people that complain about racism and white supremacy have some of the best jobs.
Yeah.
They work for CNN. They work for Vogue. I'm like, you guys have all the jobs I wish I would have had when I was younger. They were all blue checked up and verified. Do you know how far being verified goes when you apply for a job?
Really?
Oh, yeah. I know you wouldn't know because you're a smart man.
Well, no, just because
You've never applied for a job using a blue check.
Right.
Yeah.
I've not applied for a job in like 10 years.
See what I'm saying? Because you're a smart man.
Yeah.
But some people out here, you know, they want to apply for a job, and they might have dreadlocks, and they might not have that college degree, and they might not have that verification. But you know what? If I had the verification, they might overlook the degree.
Yeah.
They might overlook the locks.
Ooh, you're somebody, right?
Right? Yeah, you must be somebody.
But I dig it, man. I went to the White House wearing this.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't wear a suit. I wore the beanie and the button shirt or whatever.
That's called branding.
That's right.
It is, but it's also I think it's look, man, this is America. We're a country founded on a bunch of farmers fighting back against, you know, the empire or whatever.
Yes.
So the way I see it is, in this country, we are all equal.
Okay.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and we are all. I'm brain farting on the line from the Declaration of Independence, but
we're all created in God's image.
No, we're all created, you know, with the same inalienable rights.
Yes.
So when someone says this is the White House, I say that's great, but this is not a building designed and built for, in my opinion, the wealthy and the wealthy elites.
Ooh.
No. We can go back in time and talk about the wealthy landowners and their ideas and what they wanted to do. But what they put forward in these documents was planting a seed that said everybody's got a shot.
Allegedly.
Now you got companies like Vanguard and State Street and that own like most of the tech companies. So like Vanguard is the biggest investment firm in the world. It owns, and it's not an American.
Well, yeah,
thing.
we have. I think after a certain amount of time, we became a plutocracy.
Yeah,
and now it's just all the rich people who just dictate what we do, and they pay for the laws. They lobby.
They're definitely dividing us on purpose as Americans. These
I don't know
financialists.
I don't know. That's what worries me. I don't know if there's like a grand conspiracy among the ultra rich to be like, here's what we got to do to the people. I think it's rich people just acting in their own interests, like ultra wealthy elites, and it's a big club and you ain't in it. But I don't think they have like a meeting where they're like, how can we screw over the rabble today? Or like, how can we control? No, I think it's basically like a guy saying, I don't want them coming in my building, so I want this law passed in your city. And they go, you got it, buddy. And then they build this system around.
But there's so many meetings documented.
There's meetings, but it's an issue of, I guess it's an issue of intent, right? Are they having?
There was a Jekyll Island meeting. Surely you're familiar with the creature from Jekyll Island.
No, what's this?
I shall say nothing further.
That's where they wrote up the Federal Reserve Act.
Oh, really? The way I look at, you know, how this country was founded is that it's really interesting that it had these ideas of liberalism, like classical liberalism, freedom, liberty, individualism. they certainly didn't operate under the purest form of that when this country was founded. But through that, we've had numerous amendments, Supreme Court rulings that have led to more equality. I guess you can call it equality, but I suppose
I feel like
access.
I feel like the opposite has happened.
So explain
the
what you
further
mean.
the further we've progressed as a country, the less equality we've had.
Really?
Yeah. Where is the equality?
Well,
Where do you see the equality?
Well, I can tell you, it was my grandparents weren't legally allowed to be married because they were different races, and so they had to actually flee because it was illegal. Different states.
Well, again, that's the problem with the federal government, right? So the federal government overrides how the states want to operate, right? I believe that every state has the right to make laws and say, look, we don't want these type of people getting married. Cool. I'ma leave and go someplace where we are welcome. This is the great thing about not having a communist nation, because then you got the federal government opens a window for them to start calling shots and saying you can do this and you can't do that. We got to leave that window closed. You can't tell the states anything they want to do. Besides, I think the only benefit to having people get married under the state is some sort of tax, right? Tax benefits.
It was
right?
different back in the day. It was different.
I mean, what's stopping you from getting married under God?
I don't know.
Why do you need the state's approval to get married?
Oh, I agree with you on that.
Right?
Like when you want to talk about why the government has authority, there's a big difference between legitimate authority and illegitimate authority, and too much of government is just arbitrary. We've just, okay, you're in charge of this for whatever reason. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you wasn't with me sleeping in the bed. You know what I mean? You wasn't hitting that. I was hitting that. You know what I mean? Where was you at? You know what I mean? You took 30% from me and gave me nothing back.
You're talking about the government.
Yeah, you took 30% for ties and didn't get nothing back. You screwed me. I was screwing her while you were screwing me.
My understanding, as I was reading this thing, we mentioned it a day ago or so, is that the average person gets more value, more dollar for dollar value from the government than they pay in taxes. It's the rich people that pay way more taxes that basically subsidizes.
I've heard that theory before, but that sounds like what you call overeducated speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either you taking 30% from me or not. I don't care what you doing with everybody else and the super rich and what they're subsidizing. Are you taking 30% from me? Because I need that 30%.
Seriously, yeah.
So
Right?
you like these Trump tax cuts?
Yeah. Even though it's a deferment, right? You still got to pay it later on.
Which ones?
The tax program.
Well, the COVID one was a deferment,
Right.
but the actual tax cuts he put in place.
Oh, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. I mean, of course
Yeah.
you're going to enjoy that, right? I operate as a corporation.
It's really, you know what the craziest thing to me is? I don't understand why, when it comes to, when I talk to these leftist activists, these progressives, they're talking about taxing the rich and all that. And I'm like, okay, but do you know how much money of that, like, do you know where that money goes when you tax them? Like, there's a lot of questions you got to ask when you say tax the rich. Okay,
Yeah.
what taxes? Are you talking about capital gains specifically? Or are you talking about corporate tax? And then where does that money go? What do you
Yeah.
do with it? Because
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like a good chunk of it goes to blowing up kids in foreign countries.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
is that something you are choosing to pay for? You want to buy? 'Cause
Right.
I personally don't.
I mean, when you tax the rich, all you're basically saying is become more savvy with how you hide your money,
Yep.
Exactly.
right? So then you wonder why you can't get jobs in America is because they're gonna offshore them to Russia, India, or some other third world nation, and that's the result. They're gonna be much savvier. You know, in order to not pay taxes in America, you need a $500 an hour employee. I mean, accountant, somebody who has previously worked for the IRS, who knows all the loopholes. That's how you perform tax avoidance. It's different from tax evasion. Got tax avoidance. So if you can afford to not pay taxes, you won't pay taxes, and you shouldn't. I do not advocate for the rich to get taxed, because advocating for the rich to get taxed means I'm next. No, that's not supposed to be like that.
How do you feel about income tax?
It shouldn't be taxed at all. The first instance of tax was for what? To subsidize the wars.
When was that?
That was
Revolutionary War, Civil War.
Well, wasn't that was bonds though, wasn't it? Like, so in the Revolutionary War, they sold bonds, and then I think income tax came at like the early 1900s. They were like, we need more money.
It came
So
around when
they
they
had
started the Federal Reserve.
They had a stamp tax.
Yeah.
Stamp Act.
For
The
weed, right?
Stamp Act.
That's correct, sir.
Was that for weed?
Yeah.
For imported goods. It was like a tariff.
Yeah.
So you might not have had an income tax.
Right.
But they were taking it out of your assets. They were stealing money from people some way, somehow. Then you had the European powers that were controlling the script, that were controlling the currency. And that's really what everybody was upset about. That's one thing a lot of people don't talk about. Because you got to remember, they tried the first national bank, then the second national bank, and then the second national bank was like, all right, we paid off all our debts. And after the Civil War, the North told the South, look, whatever debt you got, we not taking that. You better clear your debts before you come back. And then that's how Russia gave us Alaska and paid off the debt. You know what I'm saying? So we bought that back from Russia for helping the North. I mean, there's a lot goes into, the financial background of America. But I mean, there's always been some sort of lien placed against the American people.
So let's go back real quick. You were mentioning diversity, because I want to ask you, we were talking about the Democrats.
Yeah.
They all think the same. They all act the same.
Yeah.
But they say they look different, so that's their diversity. What do you think about the Republican Party?
The Republican Party, they're so boring. There's nothing to say.
Right, dude. That's the way I feel. Like, what do they do?
Like the really, I don't know what the Republican Party does. I have no idea what's happening in that world. I could not speak from an educated platform on the Republican Party or the Democrat Party. All I can tell you is about what I see manifested in my life. And it seems like the Republicans have a very hands-off attitude. It seems like they bow to the Democrats.
It does, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
From where I'm sitting. And it seems like the Democrats really control the topics of conversation. They control culture. The liberals control culture. And I believe Breitbart said it, Andrew Breitbart, said politics is downstream from culture.
That's correct, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So they knew that,
Republicans don't have any culture. Like, they don't control any cultural institutions.
Right.
The Republicans are constantly trying to be liked by Democrats.
Yeah.
Like, you see that video of Lindsey Graham fist bumping Kamala Harris the other day?
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, he's the dude who's coming out telling Trump to fight tooth and nail, and he's going to donate money to this. But then secretly he walks up, he's like fist bump, pat in the back. Because these you know what it feels like? A lot of these Republicans, and there's some good populists, like, regular conservatives, and there's some Democrats.
Yeah.
But the Republican Party, it seems like these guys are all just like the nerdy kids in school, begging to be popular.
Yeah.
And they think the Democrats are the cool kids, so they're just like, we'll do whatever, we'll say whatever you want, just tell me what to say and I'll say it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're all puppets at the end of the day. Alex Jones came on your platform. Actually, nah, my bad. I'm thinking of Sean Stone. I interviewed Sean Stone on my platform, and he broke down who was financing the left and who financing the right, and they from the same family. I'm not naming no names. I'm not that brave.
Does the left have anybody funny?
Funny?
Yeah.
Or funding?
Funny.
Funny? Oh, they got a lot of names. I don't say names. That's not what Hotep Jesus do. We don't say names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because then people drag you. They're like, you bring them up, and then...
Well, I might need their money one day.
That was right.
Right on.
Right? I'm not going to upset. See, that's the thing, man. Everybody's like upset at this power structure, right? I'm not upset at it. I'm upset at the people for feeding into it. We don't got to feed into this system. We could go do our own thing and make this system obsolete. And these people will be wondering, like you asked me, Shorty asked me on the way here, do I vote? I was like, nah, I don't vote. If I vote, I validate the existence of the state. I'm not validating the existence of the state, so I don't vote. So every time y'all go vote, y'all basically telling the government, oh, y'all believe in this, what we doing? Okay, good. Come on down here, place this vote. No doubt. I got you. And you're validating BS.
Proving you have confidence in the system to some degree.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how many times do you have to get shafted before you realize it's not working for you? And the problem is, and that's why I'm writing my upcoming book, is like, they don't have any sense of history. People talk about the founding fathers. Like I always say, the founding fathers didn't care about you at all. They were not thinking about you when they wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. They were thinking about themselves, right?
I don't know if I agree, but let's talk about it. What do you mean?
Okay. In order to vote, you had to own land back then.
But you know why that was?
Why is that?
There was no IDs. So somebody walks into a meeting and he says, I'm going to vote. And they're like, who are you? I own this piece of land here, right here.
Yeah.
So it was your way of saying, I live in this community. I'm a member of this community.
Mm-hmm. You know, in order to have power, you always need good excuses.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a real good excuse. We didn't have ID.
Well,
you know what everybody has for ID?
What's that?
Called a thumbprint.
But back then, I don't think they knew that.
What? Come on, Tim. Don't do that.
Fingerprints back in the day.
Fingerprints
in
are
the 1700s?
ancient. Fingerprints are ancient, bro. They used to take candle wax and then certify a document with candle wax. This is ancient technology. Everybody's got an ID. It's right here.
It's not just about IDing somebody. It was about, we don't want someone to vote in our, meetings,
right,
who doesn't have a stake in what happens here.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
That's what they say. But that's not what the documents say. The documents are supposed to be for all people.
Right.
Not just landowners. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say, oh, you have to have a stake in this.
That's right? A good point, too, because there were a lot of people who lived in these areas that didn't own land, and
right.
they weren't voting.
Well, yeah.
I think,
you also got people who were drafted into wars while the rich were able to pay their way out.
Mm-hmm. And the 17th Amendment, that we do a Senate by popular vote.
Okay.
Before the 17th, the states would appoint senators, specifically because this is not a democracy. This country is not a democracy.
It's a republic.
The founding fathers thought, you've got the House that represents the will of the people,
mm-hmm.
but the senators are the upper chamber of better men.
Yeah.
Literally, that was what they would say, better men.
Mm-hmm.
And so that all changed in the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was probably Michael Malice who told me this, that maybe it wasn't. No, I think it was Seamus, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That there were senators who, when they passed the 17th, resigned saying, I do not want to be beholden to the rabble.
Yeah.
So originally, yeah, we did have elitism. We had a lot more of it. It was crazy to me. You know, the UK still has a House of Lords.
They sell the House of Lords?
They still have a House of Lords.
Oh, yes.
Like the upper chamber is just like religious, ranking people and like landowners from like of historic merit of some sort.
Yeah, and then the other side is the Parliament.
And then I think the House of Commons.
House of Commons.
Yeah,
okay.
so they're all in Parliament. The House of Commons is just like the regular people.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be like that here.
Yeah.
The founding fathers were like, we want better men to be appointed by, the state. And then the House was the regular people who would come and, talk about the will of the people.
Yeah.
And I think it's clever because we're not a democracy.
Uh-huh.
And you don't just want, all political power to be in the hands of just popular vote.
Right.
Makes sense. But definitely. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. And we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.